The Bengals got defensive on day 2 of the NFL draft. Let's dive into both selections, DJ Turner and Jordan Battle, plus some thoughts on what could happen next. Because, yes, they made a trade and added a pick on day 3. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com here at Paycor Stadium, where the Bengals added 2 more players to their roster on Friday night, a corner and a safety. So now defensive end, cornerback, safety, Lou Anarumo is a happy man. We posted both news conferences with head coach Zach Taylor and defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo on both picks, so make sure you check those out right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And let's dive into day 2, because DJ Turner is a guy we've talked about a lot on this channel, certainly someone that we've highlighted. He ran a 4.26 40-yard dash at the Combine, and so it's the fastest 40-yard dash this year, and that's going to get a lot of attention. But I asked Lou Anarumo a key question about that, because it's really not easy, but a lot of guys can run really, really fast in a straight line and do it in a Combine track setting. But does it translate to the film? Did it show up on the field? And, well, it did, according to Lou Anarumo. You love to see it because, and I love this pick, because not only does it complement what they did in round 1, where you get a young pass rusher, and the more and more I learn about Myles Murphy, the more I like it, the more I think it could work out, the more I think it has a high floor, and that's what you want, especially at pick 28. And at an edge rusher position. And I think he has a pretty decent ceiling too. So more on that later. But DJ Turner complements that very well. Not only was he teammates in college with Dax Hill, but he's an elite athlete. And I think that's such a big part of what the Bengals are targeting in the secondary right now. Elite athletes that have production, that played in big games. And whether you look at Dax Hill, you look at a guy this year like DJ Turner, and it fits right in. It fits with Nick Scott when they signed him this offseason to play the one safety spot. You know, Chidobe Awuzie ran a 4.43 40-yard dash. All of these guys in the Bengals secondary have run 4.4 or 4.3. Cam Taylor-Britt, 4.38. Tyson Anderson, 4.36. Dax Hill, 4.38. They're extremely fast. And if they play fast, which DJ Turner does, he's going to fit right in. Chris Sims said that he's the best man-to-man cornerback in this draft. Doesn't have the length that a lot of teams would look for. And I asked Lou about that, because the arm length is something that normally the Bengals covet when you're looking at cornerbacks. And he said, yeah, that is a deficiency, essentially. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing it, but he said that the quickness, the agility, the speed that Turner has makes up for it.
Yeah, you see it. You see it on tape. You know, it's a good question, because you'll see guys that have great time speed and it doesn't match their play speed, and vice versa. But this guy can run, and you see it on tape. If he gets out of position, he can get back in it because of his speed. You know, DBs in our league today, they're going to get beat. They're going to get out of position, and this guy has the recovery speed to get back in and maybe make a play on the ball. So that's one of the things that we really liked.
And like I said, Chris Sims certainly a big fan of the pick. I think it's a great value pick. I mocked him there a few times during simulators. I know on Locked On Bengals one time we took Turner in the second round. It's someone we mentioned on this channel yesterday, and I think it's a heck of a pick. Like, if I had to give it a grade for 60, I think it's probably an A, because you get your pass rusher, and you're still able to get a corner that had first-round buzz. That I think there were some teams that would have considered Turner in round 1, but someone else might have been there. Maybe they were able to trade down. Maybe they were able to get one of the other corners, because the corners kind of fell. You know, Banks fell a little bit farther. Obviously, Porter Jr. fell. And I do have some thoughts on what the Steelers did, because there's a certain guy named Darnell Washington that people are upset about. And so, really like the Turner pick. I'll give it an A. Let's fast forward to round 3, 92 overall, and then the Bengals trade down. And it's 95th overall, and they trade down with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs get an offensive lineman. And then Wanya Morris out of Oklahoma. And then right after that, Darnell Washington goes off the board. Oh, my God, the Steelers robbed the Bengals. I can't believe it. They were going to take the tight end out of Georgia, and they traded down, and it cost them. Actually, they weren't. I can tell you right now, 100%, they were not taking Darnell Washington. They were not in on Darnell Washington. I tried to make that clear throughout some of my videos, specifically at pick 28. I wasn't sure about pick 60. I'm not going to pretend that I for sure knew they wouldn't be in on him, but it sounded that way, and it's been consistent throughout the process that was the case. And so that's why he obviously wasn't there at pick 95, but they weren't going to go that route anyway. And so they get a guy in battle who a lot of people have already said is Von Bell, which I don't want to go that far, but he doesn't align with all the testing I just mentioned. He didn't run a super fast 40-yard dash, just 4.55, but he's a captain, two-time All-American, 4-year starter at Alabama. They praised his character. He's a guy that they think if they need a ready-to-go safety, a young ready-to-go safety, that he could come in and play right now. And so that's a heck of a guy to get at pick 95. He was the highest player on their board by far, a source told me. So, look, they're always going to say that, I guess you could say, and you could brush it off that way. At the same time, you look at what Duke Tobin has done, and in round 3, sometimes it catches you off guard. And this one catches me off guard a bit, right? I don't think anyone was really expecting safety in round 3. But it was like, he's clearly the best player on the board. We don't necessarily need another safety, but he can contribute. And maybe he does give you that Von Bell type of flexibility where he can play in the box some and he can drop back some and be part of it. And if that's the case, then hell yeah, right? Hell yeah, sign up for that. So I really like that they stuck to their board. And I know some will question the pick, but if you look at him, one, Battle, the last name Battle is like one of the best football names you can have, or sports names, athlete names, whatever you want to say. But it's like Jordan Battle. Like that's going to be fun to hear Dan Horde talk about him when he has a pick 6. He had, I think, 3 pick 6s, by the way, for Alabama. Good ball skills, big playmaker. It might be 6 interceptions and 3 pick 6s. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. So regardless, though, didn't test great, but has everything else. Has the instincts, has the playmaking ability, all of those things. And I think the Bengals look at it and say, hey, man, he can be a part of our franchise for quite some time. And so now you have a secondary that is just completely revamped with a bunch of athletes and a guy in battle who is battle-tested, pun intended, and ready to go if you need him right now, which is good because you lost 2 safeties. Yeah, Daxell's going to slide into that starting job. Nick Scott's going to be a starter as well. You signed him for a reason. But now you have a guy in battle who, along with Tyson Anderson, can man that safety room and really fortify it. Makes a ton of sense. I like what the Bengals have done so far. It isn't what we predicted. I thought it was going to be defense heavy. I also thought they might be in on tight end, but they were in a weird spot where 28 was too soon, 60 was too late. They weren't in on Darnell Washington. There was some medical stuff with him. Hey, if he goes on to be a great tight end, people are going to rip him for it. We will see if that happens. I'm going to post another video on what they can do on day 3. Obviously, I think we will see some offensive players get picked. The trade down from 92 to 95 was important because the Bengals added the 217th overall pick. It's a late 6th rounder. That could help as they try to fill in a wide receiver and get a wide receiver late. Maybe a running back. Maybe they do what I've done a lot in these mock drafts, double dip at running back. They have 5 picks. They could do that. They could add a punter. They could go that route. So there's plenty of options there, and we'll see what they do. We'll have that day 3 video of the guys they could potentially target coming up. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and shout out to Andrew Fox Miller for editing this. We will be back at Paycor Stadium covering all things day 3. So until then, I'm James Rapien signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.